In a world that constantly demands more of our attention, energy, and emotions, true inner peace can often feel distant, almost like something reserved for monks on quiet mountains or people who have escaped the chaos of modern life. But the truth is far simpler and far more hopeful than that. Inner peace is not something hidden in a faraway place. It is a quiet state of mind that can be cultivated right in the middle of ordinary life through small daily practices that gently reshape the way we see the world and ourselves. In this video, Buddha's wisdom journey explores the secret to inner peace you can practice every day, a timeless path inspired by mindfulness, awareness, and the profound wisdom of Buddhist teachings. Rather than offering complicated philosophies, this journey reveals simple yet powerful insights that anyone can apply in everyday moments. Through calm reflection and practical understanding, you will discover how to soften the noise of the mind, release unnecessary suffering, and reconnect with a deeper sense of balance and clarity. If you are seeking a calmer heart, a clearer mind, and a more peaceful way to live in the modern world, this exploration may open a door you didn't know was already within you. There are moments in life when a person suddenly pauses in the rushing flow of the world and asks a very simple yet profoundly deep question. Why does my mind always feel so restless? On the outside, everything may still be unfolding normally. Work continues, the roads remain crowded, and life moves forward day after day, just as it always has. But on the inside, the mind never truly seems quiet. Thoughts follow one another endlessly, worries about the future, regrets about the past, desires that have not yet been fulfilled, and even nameless fears quietly appear and disappear, like small waves continuously rippling across the surface of a lake. People often believe that peace will come when things in life become more perfect, when work becomes more stable, when money becomes more abundant, when relationships become easier, or when current difficulties finally pass. But if we observe carefully, we begin to notice something strange. Even when we achieve the things we once longed for, the mind continues searching for something else, a new goal, a new worry, a new desire, and so the cycle of restlessness continues. This is not because human beings are weak, nor because life is always harsh. Much of the time, the turbulence within the mind does not come from external circumstances, but from the way the mind reacts to the world. When the mind does not understand itself clearly, it is easily carried away by thoughts, emotions, and desires. It runs after what feels pleasant and tries to avoid what feels unpleasant. And in that process, it gradually creates a subtle tension, like a string that is constantly being pulled tight without ever being fully released. The modern world seems to make this even more apparent. Each day, people are exposed to an endless stream of information, images, and sounds. Phones constantly send notifications, social media continuously updates, and news changes hour by hour. The mind rarely has a chance to rest. It becomes like a door that is always open, where everything can enter without any filtering. And when too many things appear in the mind at once, the natural quietness slowly becomes covered. Yet there is a very simple truth that we sometimes forget. Peace is not something that must be searched for somewhere far away. It is not a reward reserved for special people, nor is it the result of a perfect life. Peace is actually a natural state of the mind when it is no longer carried away by too many thoughts, too many worries, and too many desires. It is like the surface of a lake. When the wind rises, the water becomes rippled and the reflection becomes distorted. But the true nature of the lake is not disturbance. When the wind settles, the surface of the water naturally returns to clarity. No one needs to repair it. No one needs to force it to become calm. It simply returns to its original nature. The human mind is the same. Peace has always been there, but it is often covered by layers of constantly moving thoughts and emotions. When people do not recognize this, they often try to find peace by changing the outside world. They try to control circumstances, control other people, and even try to control the future. But the more they attempt to control everything, the more exhausted the mind becomes. For this reason, the path toward inner peace is not the path of chasing or accumulating more things. It is the path of understanding and returning to look at the mind, to recognize the subtle movements taking place within, and gradually learning how to live more gently with one's own experience. What is remarkable is that this journey does not need to begin with dramatic changes. It does not require people to leave their lives behind, nor does it demand that they become someone completely different. Sometimes it begins with very small moments, a breath that is clearly noticed, a minute of pausing in the middle of a busy day, a moment of recognizing that the mind is worrying without needing to rush after that worrying. Small steps like these, when practiced each day, can gradually open the door to a profound transformation. The mind begins to feel lighter. Thoughts no longer dominate as strongly as before, and in the spaces between thoughts, people begin to sense something they rarely noticed before, a very natural stillness, deep and peaceful. The secret of inner peace does not lie in achieving some special state in the future. It lies in the ability to return to the present moment, to recognize what is happening in the mind, and to gradually learn how to live in the world with more awareness and gentleness. When this begins to happen, the outer life may remain the same. Challenges still arise, changes continue to unfold, and the world still has moments of chaos. But the way people experience all of these things begins to shift, not because life becomes easier, but because the mind has learned how to stand still within its movements. And from that stillness, a deep kind of peace slowly emerges, not loud, not dramatic, but strong enough to become the foundation for a life that is lighter, clearer, and more mindful with each passing day. The world that human beings live in has never truly been quiet. Every day, countless events happen, countless emotions arise, and countless thoughts continuously move within the mind. There are days when everything seems to pass gently, but there are also days when the mind becomes heavy with worrying pressure and things that do not go as expected. What makes people tired is not only what happens outside, but the way the mind reacts to all of it. When a difficulty appears, the mind often immediately creates many stories around it. A small remark can become a concern that lasts for many hours. A small mistake can cause a person to blame themselves for many days. A worrying about the future can make the mind wander very far away from the present moment. And the more the mind thinks, the more restless it becomes. What is interesting is that most of those anxieties do not truly exist in reality. They mainly exist in thought. The mind has the ability to create countless scenarios about things that have not yet happened, and then react to those scenarios as if they were real. Because of this, people sometimes live more in imagined fears than in the actual life that is truly unfolding. For this reason, one of the important secrets of inner peace lies in learning how to look back at one's own mind, not to control it in a tense way, and not to force it to become silent, but simply to recognize what is happening inside. When a thought appears, instead of immediately believing it, a person can pause for a moment and observe it, just recognizing that this is a thought. When an emotion appears, instead of trying to fight it, we can recognize this is an emotion passing through. Just such a small awareness is enough to create a space between ourselves and what is happening in the mind. That small space is very important because when we are no longer completely carried away by thoughts and emotions, people begin to have more freedom in how they respond to life. Instead of reacting according to old habits, they can choose a gentler and more mindful way. A simple but very profound practice to nurture peace is returning to the breath. The breath is always there, quiet and steady. When the mind becomes chaotic, simply pausing for a few minutes and paying attention to the breath going in and out allows the mind to begin slowing down, not because the breath has some special magic, but because when attention rests on the breath, the mind temporarily leaves the endless stream of thoughts. Gradually, people realize that the present moment is always more peaceful than the stories the mind is telling. In this moment, there is no past that needs to be fixed and no future that needs to be feared. There is only life unfolding in a very simple way. Another secret of peace is learning to release the need to control everything. People often want life to unfold exactly according to their plans. When things do not happen as expected, the mind begins to become tense and resist reality. But life itself is always changing. No one can completely control every circumstance, every person, or every outcome. When this is understood, the mind begins to soften. Instead of constantly resisting what cannot be changed, people learn to accept it as a natural part of life. This acceptance is not surrender or passivity. It is a deep understanding that life will always include things that lie beyond our control. When the effort to control everything begins to fade, the mind becomes much lighter. Events still happen, but they no longer create so much disturbance in the mind. In addition, inner peace is also nourished by the way people treat themselves. Many people live with a very harsh inner voice. They constantly criticize themselves for mistakes, compare themselves to others, or feel that they are not good enough. But that harshness only makes the mind more tense and exhausted. When people begin to treat themselves with understanding and compassion, something very different begins to happen. They realize that everyone has moments of weakness, everyone makes mistakes, and that is a normal part of the journey of living. Gentleness toward oneself does not make a person weak. On the contrary, it creates a solid foundation for true growth. Besides that, another important element of peace is simplicity. The modern world often encourages people to pursue many things at the same time. More success, more experiences, more recognition. But the more things people chase, the more scattered the mind becomes. When life becomes simpler, the mind also becomes clearer. Sometimes happiness does not come from having more things, but from having fewer things that are not truly necessary, fewer unnecessary thoughts, fewer unnecessary worries, fewer desires that keep the mind constantly tense. From that simplicity, people begin to feel the beauty of very ordinary things. A quiet morning, A gentle breeze, a moment of silence. Such small things may have been overlooked before, but when the mind becomes quieter, they bring a deep sense of peace. Finally, inner peace is not a perfect state where all negative thoughts completely disappear. The mind will still have moments of restlessness, and there will still be times of worrying or sadness. But the difference is that people are no longer completely carried away by them. They begin to realize that every emotion comes and goes, like clouds drifting across the sky. The sky is not harmed by the clouds, and the human mind is the same when we no longer cling to the temporary movements of the mind. A deep, quiet space inside gradually opens, and within that quiet space, people discover what they have been searching for a very long time, a kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances, does not depend on success or failure, but simply appears when the mind learns how to live with awareness and gentleness in each moment of life. Finally, when people have gone through many experiences in life, they often realize a very simple truth. What they have been searching for over a long time is not absolute success, nor a perfect life without difficulties. What the heart truly longs for is peace, a gentle state of mind where a person can live, feel, and walk through life without being swept away by too many worries and disturbances. But that peace is not something the outside world can give. There is no perfect circumstance powerful enough to guarantee that the mind will always remain quiet. There is no achievement that can keep a person forever free from restlessness, because the nature of the world is change, and anything that depends completely on the outside world will sooner or later shift. For this reason, the secret of inner peace lies in a place very close, right in the way we look at and experience life each day. When people begin to understand their own minds, begin to observe their thoughts and emotions without rushing to follow them, a very profound change begins to happen. The mind is no longer like a storm that is constantly moving violently. It gradually becomes a wider space where everything can appear and fade away without needing to create too much disturbance. True peace is not the elimination of all the difficulties of life. It is the ability to remain still amid change. When things go well, the mind does not cling too tightly. When things become difficult, the mind also does not completely collapse. A gentle balance begins to form, like a steady anchor that keeps a boat stable among the waves. What is remarkable is that the journey toward this peace does not need to begin with great or dramatic steps. It begins with very small things, a moment of pausing to notice the breath, a moment of recognizing that the mind is worrying, but does not need to continue feeding that worrying, a moment of choosing to respond with calmness instead of haste. Such small moments may seem insignificant, but when practiced each day, they gradually change the way the mind operates. Little by little, the mind becomes clearer. Negative thoughts no longer hold the same power as before. Unpleasant emotions may still appear, but they no longer last as long. And most importantly, people begin to feel a deeper, quiet space inside, a place where peace does not depend on what is happening outside. In today's world, where everything seems to be moving faster and faster, inner peace becomes an incredibly valuable gift. It helps people avoid being swept away by the chaos of information, pressure, and endless expectations. It helps people slow down a little, see more clearly, and experience life more deeply. When the mind becomes more peaceful, the way we see the world also changes. Things that once made us tense may no longer seem so important. Small things that were once overlooked began to feel more meaningful. A quiet morning, a sincere conversation, a moment of silence in the middle of a busy day. All of these began to bring a very gentle but very real kind of happiness. And perhaps that is exactly what many people are searching for deep within their hearts. Not a perfect life, but a mind that is calm enough to feel the beauty of life as it truly is. If the reflections in this video touch you in some way, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes a small thought or a personal experience can become a source of inspiration that helps others see life from a new perspective. Sincere conversations are always an important part of the journey of awareness. When we share our understanding and experiences, we not only learn from one another, but also create a space where people can pause, reflect, and find peace within a busy world. And if you feel that content like this brings value your inner journey, consider subscribing to the channel to continue walking together with future videos. Each video will be a gentle reminder for us to return to awareness, to a deeper understanding of the mind, and to the path that leads to true peace. The journey to find peace is not a short journey, but it is a very worthwhile one, because every step along that path not only helps us understand life more deeply, but also helps us understand ourselves. And when we understand ourselves, we begin to realize that the peace we once searched for everywhere has actually always been there, quietly waiting to be discovered within our own minds.